All right. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Nerdside Champs. We are the Nerd Champs. I am Dan. That is Tim. Down below us, we are joined by the Bone Bridger. And it is our
the end of the year.
Yeah, end of the year. It is our first annual end of the year roundup / next year look ahead. We're taking a break from our festive hijinks, even though I'm on my full Clark Griswold attire. But, it's also the time of year where you look back and you plan forward. And that's what we're going to do here, folks. We're going to go back over 2025, spotlight just how terrible it was, and then see if there's any hope for 2026. I know Tim has a prepared statement that he wants to start the festivities with.
I wouldn't say a prepared statement. I just, I think it's very interesting. It's an interesting observation that when I take a look at the top 10 grossing movies of 2025, okay, so let's just run through them real quick here, okay? We've got Niza 2, okay, which if you're not familiar with anime, you probably have no idea what that is. It's a big grossing movie over in China, I guess. Lilo and Stitch, a Minecraft movie, Zootopia 2, then Jurassic World Rebirth, Demon Slayer, another anime, How to Train Your Dragon, F1 the movie, Superman, and Mission Impossible. So I took a look at this, then I went back to 2024, and I said, well, 2024, what were those movies? Inside Out 2, then there was Deadpool and Wolverine, Moana 2, Despicable Me 4, Wicked, Mufasa the Lion King, Dune Part 2, Godzilla versus Kong, Kung Fu Panda 4, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I just think that there's a huge trend of what people are willing to spend their money on, and it seems like the animated family movies are just dominating, is what it looks like to me. I just think there was a moment in maybe the late 2010s when that wasn't the case. I think people were very much more into superhero. People were much more into the big blockbuster like Godzilla, Independence Day type movies that you watch on the big screen. And I think that a lot of people were into critically acclaimed stuff as well. None of that stuff is really what's on the top 10 lists anymore. And I thought that's interesting. You just take a look at some of the stuff here. Inside Out 2, Moana 2, Despicable Me 4, Mufasa, Kung Fu Panda, Sonic the Hedgehog, Lilo and Stitch, Minecraft movie, Zootopia 2. This is just in 2 years that these are on the top 10 lists, okay? And I went back to 2018. All right, listen to the top 10 list in 2018. Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Incredibles 2, Aquaman, Bohemian Rhapsody, Venom, Mission Impossible Fallout, Deadpool 2, and Fantastic Beasts. So just a huge monumental shift in what people are willing to spend their money on now is what it looks like. This was just 7 years ago, and it was all superhero. It was all critically acclaimed stuff. It was all action adventure. It's completely different now. People don't want to spend their money on that. People would rather stream that stuff and go see the movies with their family is what it looks like to me. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah. I could even add Jurassic World this year to that list because they tried to make it like a family-friendly film. Yes, there's dinosaurs, but it's not like it's a scary, elevated movie. Like, it's not like they tried to be something true crazy. Like, everything, and I guess Neza 2 is an animated family-style movie. It's a kid's movie. Yeah. So that's the only thing that's working other than horror movies, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, there really were no horror movies on this. So it's kind of crazy to me.
Horror is cheap to make. So for a return on investment, horror is always
make
good.
$300 million.
Yeah. And what we're looking at, and it's the question, was 2025 just underwhelming, or was it a warning sign? Like, is this the thing? People will always spend money on their kids. It's Christmas time. You could see the people like, I just spent a day and a half trying to help a cousin hunt down, I think it's called a Next Playground. I'm so dumb. I thought it was physical playground because they were trying to get it from Sam's Club. And I
Yeah.
was looking for like a big plastic playground set that you build a house out of. No, it's like a little cube thing. You hook up the TV and play Bluey games. And like,
Oh,
it was on sale at Sam's. You could get the thing in the carry case and it was $50 off. And it was, and we were looking at like Sam's Clubs in other states where we knew people were going to college that maybe we could send it to their house and help my cousin get this for her kids. So people will spend money on their kids, and that's why all these cartoons are always going to do well. But outside of people spending money on their kids, like, are people going to spend enough money at the theater to justify the budgets of a huge action spectacle going forward? And I don't know if they are.
yeah. I mean, and I take a look at what's trending for 2026. Of course, Avengers Doomsday is trending number one, but look at what everything else is: Super Mario Galaxy, Toy Story 5, the Odyssey, Moana live action, Spider-Man Brand New Day, Minions 3, Mortal Kombat 2, and Resident Evil. So I take a look at what's trending for 2026, what we had in 2025 and 2024. It just looks like a lot of people don't want to go spend money on the movies that they did want to spend money on 5-6 years ago. Those aren't the event anymore. Those aren't what people want to go do anymore with their free time. They would rather just wait until those come out on streaming and watch them when their kids go to bed. That's what it looks like.
So we have a lot of comments, but before we get into that, I want to go around and just Bone Bridger, what was your biggest disappointment? Like streaming, theaters, what was your biggest disappointment of 2025?
Mine might be a little bit of a curveball. I think some people feel this way, but I think Fantastic Four was disappointing. Not that it was the worst movie by far, but just because yet again, Fantastic Four just isn't special. It's just not special. It's not memorable. It's not game changing. The characters are not what they probably should be, considering how iconic they are. That was my biggest disappointment.
What was the box office on that one, Bone? It was like really low, right? It was like
500,
it wasn't
600.
Even. Was it 5 or 6? Okay. I mean, yeah, that's just.
I don't know.
That's just not gonna. That's just not gonna.
I will Google it while Tim tells
project.
us his biggest disappointment.
I've got to say that my biggest disappointment, and it's not because I didn't like the movie, much like Bone Bridger said. I agree that Fantastic Four was in there. I kind of didn't expect much from Fantastic Four just because of Marvel's track record this year, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. I was very disappointed in the return for Superman, and I feel like they missed a lot of golden opportunities. I feel like not having Superman release on the 4th of July cost them hundreds of millions of dollars, and they had their release date 2 years before Jurassic World was even announced. And they chose not to go with 4th of July. Truth, Justice, the American Way. It was sitting right there. It was sitting right there, and they chose not to do it. I've got to go with Superman. They swung and they missed on this one. I said anything under 7 would be epic failure. It was like 619 or something stupid. It's definitely not going to be enough to get the job done. And now I'm not entirely sure that Warner Brothers wasn't trying to hitch everything to that wagon, because now we see them kind of scrapping, trying to sell and trying to do all kinds of other stuff. I'm not entirely sure that is not a direct result of Superman not doing well.
Our research staff has just got back, and the worldwide box office for Fantastic Four was 521.8. So
that's not going to do it. That's just not going to do
it.
Yeah.
My biggest disappointment was probably the performance of Superman, but in the interest of having a third thing to say, I'm going to throw the Jurassic World out there because I was disappointed on 2 counts. I was disappointed in that the movie was awful. I mean, it was I don't know, maybe because it was one of the few films that I anticipated not being terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the movies, I like Fantastic Four wasn't terrible, but I went in full-fledged expecting it to be terrible. right? And so the fact that it was like aggressively mediocre made me feel like it was okay while I was watching it. Whereas Jurassic World, I saw some trailers. I like Scarlett Johansson. I'm like, this might be good. And you guys can both attest, I was furious because we woke up early and we went to a midnight showing and they reviewed it early the next morning. I was and then so I was super disappointed with how awful it is, and I'm doubly disappointed with how well it performed. The fact that it was that awful.
Well, and that's the funny thing about it is for it to get the start that it had and not reach $1 billion. I think it finished in the 860s or something. For it to have like a $350 million start or whatever it was and not finish at $1 billion, that just tells you, I mean, word spread really, really fast that this was a terrible movie. It spread really fast.
So, but it seems like $1 billion was like an incredible hump this year.
It was.
Minecraft didn't get there, did it? Did Minecraft get there?
No, it was close. It was like 950. It was like 950. Yeah, it was close, but it wasn't.
I mean, after the opening weekend, I would have bet anything you asked that it was.
I think I think it was just Lilo and Stitch and that Chinese movie, whatever it was.
And Zootopia. Now,
yeah. Oh, Zootopia. That's right, Zootopia. Yeah, Zootopia. Just passed. It. So yeah.
And Avatar will probably do it, but
Avatar will, but it's not. Yeah, it's just not included yet. So yeah.
So, how much do we trust the box office numbers out of China, though? Do we believe those numbers? Do we think no? Okay, yeah. So, from now on and until eternity, the number one movie of the year will be a Chinese film. Correct? I mean that's what's going to happen now.
I'm going Avatar, no matter what the number is at the end of the day.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, I think
I still have my crazy theory about Avatar that nobody watches this movie. I have no idea how it does the numbers that it does. I cannot find 5 people on the street that have told me how excited they are to see this movie. I have no idea how
I dress up.
I can't believe these movies do stupid numbers when I cannot find anybody who can even name 3 characters in the movie. I can't find them.
Maybe it's just where we're from, Tim. Bonebridger loves these movies.
Honestly, I wonder if it is like certain populations just are obsessed with it in certain art.
I guess,
maybe it is. Just here in Southwest Ohio, it didn't click. It just didn't catch on.
It just didn't catch on.
Yeah, just a little pocket of people who don't get it.
The blue people, y'all just aren't down with the blue people.
I love the ride at Disney World. I love that thing. You know,
true.
You get on the thing that's like it's like a motorcycle, and there's a big screen, and it's cool. It's really cool.
Over here in Ohio, we're all just trying to decide if they're Smurfs still. We're like, so it's a Smurf. It's a Smurf movie.
A really expensive one.
Yeah. How did Smurfs do this year? Did anybody go see the Smurfs? I don't think anybody saw that either, right? No.
It wasn't on our little top 10 list, but it should have been by the trend, right? I mean,
by the trend, you would.
So
yeah, it must have truly been awful to be a family film. You know, because I think what was it, Despicable Me 8 that you listed off there that's in there. So
the new How to Train Your Dragon, a lot of them were on there, but that was not one of them. So yeah.
So it must have been truly terrible. Now we do have a lot of comments in the queue, so I'm going to go ahead and get those rolling so we can see what they have. Let's see. Was 2025 actually a bad movie year, or were your expectations just too high? Flashing Fast has to say. So, what do we think? Bonebridger, do you think it was actually a bad year, or do you think our expectations were too high?
I think it's a bad year in terms of the quality factor. I think that a couple movies stand out that were successful that are bad. And I'm not saying it wasn't entertaining to watch them one time, but Minecraft, Jurassic World, if those are your big winners, and How to Train Your Dragon, which is a shot-for-shot remake, it's just live action, whatever we're going to call that, live action. Like that's just a rough year. Whereas a few years ago we had a rough year, but we had Barbie and Oppenheimer. I could argue right there that the year was strong because at least you had something truly interesting at the top. Like the
Different,
fact that
yeah.
those movies won.
Yeah.
We didn't get any of those. And next year we're getting the Odyssey. So looking forward, it's like, okay, well, we get Spider-Man, Odyssey, we get Doomsday. I mean, next year just seems a lot better. Last year seems a little better too, even looking back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What do you think, Tim? Was it an actual bad year?
I think it was an actual bad year. I think our expectations actually for the year were not very high at all. I remember the first Marvel project was Brave New World, right? Isn't that what it was? And
yes.
so we all of a sudden got thrown down the stairs right away with Captain Sam, and I just don't think that we ever really recovered from the nerd perspective from there, because then we ended up going into Thunderbolts, which was interesting, but didn't do very well at the box office. Dan and I actually liked the movie. I don't know how Bone Bridger felt, but we actually liked the movie, but it just didn't do very well for a plethora of reasons. And then you got the Fantastic Four, which I don't know what they were thinking with that. The time frame that they released, it was the third movie in July that was a huge movie. You had Jurassic World kick it off, then you had Superman, and then you had Fantastic Four. It's like the number 3 was always not going to do well. And so I just felt like I felt like the way this year was laid out from the very beginning was never really going to be what we wanted. The projects themselves were always a little underwhelming, always kind of felt a little B tier. There really was nothing that everybody was just really looking forward to. I think Avatar might be the only thing. And honestly, like I said, I think that might be kind of a regional thing. So I don't know. I feel like it kind of was a bad year. I agree with Bone Bridger, the quality for sure. I think that we are going to end with probably $3 or $4 billion movies. So it's not going to be a total financial bum, but I do feel like quality wise, we took a step back in 2025, and 2024 was not great. 2024 was not great, but 2025, I feel like really made us say, is this the best we can do?
Yeah. I feel like it actually was. My expectations were not high coming in.
Not at all.
I had high hopes for Superman. That was the only movie coming into the year I had high hopes for. I liked the movie. I liked that version of Superman. Small things that I could pick about it, but I was very pleased with the film. I was very unpleased with its performance. The fact that, and really after Superman, Fantastic Four, I feel like superheroes are like I think they're done. I think it's over. I think this is Westerns in the late 60s, early 70s. I feel like that's where we are with superheroes. I think it's the next thing, but the quality wasn't there. And even the ones like we said, I like Thunderbolts, but the thing about Thunderbolts or New Avengers, there was a lot of homework to understand and enjoy that film. And it was not enjoyable homework. You had to have watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You had to have watched Black Widow. And the number of people that have watched both of those things and were willing to watch yet another thing with those characters really capped. You lost people each time, and you had to have people that had seen both, understood both, and were willing to get bit again. And then you get pleasantly surprised, but how many people showed up to get surprised? So I don't know. I feel like it was a bad year with a lot of bad decisions. What movie surprised you the most, good or bad? Thug Dog wants to know. So, Bone Bridger, what was your biggest surprise?
Ooh, I think that the biggest surprise for me, I'm not going to say Snow White, because I think that was what it was. Like, it was predictable. It was going to be bad. It didn't surprise me how bad it was. Even though it was really bad. Brave New World also was really bad, but we had heard it wasn't really a complete film and they had editing problems. So it's like, okay. Thunderbolts surprised me in a weird way, because I don't hate Thunderbolts, but I understand why people hate Thunderbolts. I also don't love Thunderbolts, but I understand why people love Thunderbolts. It's just weird that it's a Marvel film in 2025. Like that we're at, like that movie came out this year. And what if it came out another year? I think that one surprised me. A lot of the things they chose to do, how it was received, the box office, all that surprises me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was yeah, it was all over the place. Yeah,
Some people love it. Some people hate it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the reviews were
it's
strong.
a good film though. Like
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, it's a good film. And I use good lightly because it's like compared to Brave New World, Thunderbolts is a film. I'm not sure Brave New World is a film. Like it's not really a complete film. It's like 7 films in one film.
It's a collage.
Yeah, it's a collage. That's actually a great way to put it.
It's a Frankenstein. It's like a
Yeah.
Frankenstein of a movie.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
So yeah. It's actually, it was the Incredible Hulk 2 pasted together with Sam's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tim, what was your biggest surprise?
I'm going to go off the beaten path, and I'm going to pick a movie I haven't seen as my biggest surprise, because every person who has seen this movie has actually told me it's not a bad movie, but I refuse to believe it, so I haven't seen it. So my biggest surprise is Predator Badlands. I cannot believe everybody I've talked to has told me it's not a bad movie. Go watch it. I'm like, how could it be a good movie? How could it possibly be a good movie? All right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie, but it just that initial reaction is enough for it to be my surprise of the year. It looks
It's
awful.
a good movie.
It looks terrible.
It's just not a Predator movie.
Yeah.
It's just not a Predator movie.
Okay.
It's
what I
totally a
keep
good
hearing,
movie.
like-
it's not a Predator movie though.
Yeah. If they picked any
It's-
other
it's
creature,
Guardians of the
and said-
Galaxy.
yeah.
It's
they're-
Guardians.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh,
it's
it
Guardians.
is too. And honestly, if they had done the same movie and made up their own creature and not used the Predator universe, they wouldn't have made as much money at the box office. But no one could critique it because they're not taking something and changing it. If they had just used their own thing, it's a good movie. But they changed the whole concept of the Predator.
Yeah. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to make the Predator the
People
good guy.
complain.
It makes no sense.
People complain that there are no original ideas in Hollywood anymore. You know, it's all, but I counter that there are original ideas. They just can't get made unless you shoehorn them into an existing IP. Like I
That's
feel
right.
like all of the creators,
That story right there.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. The creators in Hollywood are sick of making and repackaging this stuff. They don't even want to do it anymore, and so that's
Yeah.
why they're just taking their original stuff and be like, okay, how can I cram? Like, you know, it started with the Joker. You know, the dude was like, I want to make a Scorsese movie because I love Scorsese movies. Well, how can I turn it into something with comic books? You know what? I'll put the Joker in it. You know, the comic fans won't know and they won't get it, and it'll be fine, and I'll make $1 bajillion. And then he did. And then he was angry that it succeeded. So you got fully, but that's what we're getting now, you know? And sometimes it works. And to the degree that you get a good movie that craps all over the IP, and sometimes you just get it craps on the IP and it's really bad, like Alien Earth. You know, yeah.
Oh yeah, Alien Earth. If we're counting streaming stuff, that one surprised me.
Yeah, that was a bad surprise. That was a
You
very,
know,
very
I
bad
think I'm
surprise.
gonna put that as my number one surprise.
Yeah, that's my
totally-
surprise right there.
I had every expectation that was gonna be good. I really did.
I thought to myself, you know, when Dan presented it, and the only reason that we decided to do it on this channel is because Chat GPT told us that it would be awesome. I think after the first 2 episodes, and we reviewed it all together, the 3 of us, when we reviewed those episodes, I think the one thing we all said was that there's nowhere else to go. They've already done all the alien stuff. And so where can you go from there? So they just kind of did this Blade Runner story that nobody wanted to talk about. Nobody wanted to see. It was boring. I mean, Alien Earth is one of the worst things that Disney has put out in a long, 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 long time. and the viewership numbers just kept. I mean, they fell like a rock after the first week. I mean, it was awful. So I cannot disagree. It was a terrible, terrible surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a lump of coal in your stocking.
Absolutely.
I Am the Night.
Absolutely.
Does the box office trend we have seen over the last several years indicate that superhero fatigue is indeed real? I'm going to say, yeah. Do you guys, do either of you want to counter that? Bumberger, do you think superhero fatigue is not real?
No, I'm with it. I think there could be an argument over what caused it, but it's real. The effect of whatever's happening is real, like in terms of superhero movies that burn people out for one reason or another.
I just think people are tired of watching the same kind of stories over and over again. Superhero films were very, very interesting in the early 2000s, 2010s when people weren't really familiar with the origins. Now the origins are pretty well known to all of these characters, and the studios are trying to find a way to not do an origin story but still make it interesting to the audience and still make it something that people want to see. That's what they tried to do with the Superman movie. It just didn't work, and that's why people didn't want to go see it. People didn't want to go see it because it doesn't follow the classic superhero mold. But if they followed the classic superhero mold, people wouldn't want to go see it because it follows the classic superhero mold. So they're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. People don't want to go see it no matter which direction you pick, and that's the problem.
So yeah, I don't know. I think if Superman and the Fantastic Four couldn't pull them out of the tailspin with the way Warner Brothers is going now, who do we think? Let's take a poll. Who buys Warner Brothers? Does Netflix get to have it, or does Paramount get it? What do you think, Bumberger? Who do you think wins this?
I think Netflix will ultimately have it because Warner Brothers wants them to have it, and because at the end of the day, if they decided to get into a bidding whatever, Netflix could add more money very easily. I think they'll just overwhelm them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to step up with it. What do you think, Tim? Who do you think gets it?
Oh yeah, Netflix is going to get it, and what I think we're going to see a really, really bad trend where Netflix is going to buy up the studios that have the rights to several major IPs, and it's going to be Disney, but on a whole different scale, in my opinion. I think it's going to be it'll be annoyingly big, almost monopolistic. So I'm not looking forward to it, but this is what we've done to ourselves. We've done this to ourselves, really. I mean, we've got no one to blame but us, the fans, by making the biggest companies have to get involved. So yeah, I would say that who I want to own Warner Brothers, I would prefer that Warner Brothers kind of, still was their own thing, but it's just not going to work out that way.
Yeah. I think, like Bumberger said, Netflix, it's going to cost them some more money. They're not going to get it for, what is it? Like a 20%, let's say $20 million or less, or
a 6-pack of Coke and a candy bar.
Yeah. They might have to match Paramount's offer, but that's
Twinkie.
their problem. Yeah,
or some.
But
they might throw a Twinkie in.
My theory, though, and I might be crazy. Netflix made all the money. I'm not trying to say that they had a cash cow. They have boatloads of cash just laying around. In addition to that, they're a Pied Piper. They're like every tech company that ever existed, where the profits don't matter, and
that's
you
right.
Convince people that it's all coming someday. But I don't think they're making money in streaming anymore. I really don't. I don't think anyone is. And
I don't think anybody can.
I don't understand
I don't think it's possible.
Why they would. Yeah, if they're still making a boatload of money in streaming, I don't think they are buying a traditional movie studio. Why? What for? What would the purpose?
I think
of that
they're afraid.
Be? Yeah,
I think they're super afraid. I think they want that Harry Potter TV show real bad because it's a decade of viewership. I think that's the only reason they're really buying it is Harry Potter. I think if Warner Brothers just came back and said, okay, we'll sell you HBO Max, but just like the HBO shows and Harry Potter, they would have just bought that. They wouldn't have bought DC. I don't know if they care so much about DC.
I feel like this
Yeah.
is coming full circle. We went from basic cable to satellite to a billion different streaming services, and we're going to come back around to cable. That's what we're going to do. We're going to come back around to the point where everybody is going to just have one service that has all of this content on different channels. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Some genius is going to pitch it to all these people, and he's probably going to clean up and make billions of dollars to have all these services, and you just select them like channels on an old cable network, and then we're going to be right back where we started. And it's not going to be streaming. It'll probably be like, actual time frames and everything for the shows, because that's what actually works. That's how you can actually gauge when people are watching, when people aren't watching, when you're making money, when you're not making money, what shows you need to keep, what shows you need to cut, what shows you need to move around. That's the only way that you can really gauge this. Right now, streaming is just guessing. They're just looking at the hours watched and they're just guessing, and it's not really working. I agree with Dan. Nobody is making money doing it. That's why they all keep changing direction. They keep adding advertisements. They keep adding live sports. They keep adding pay-per-view stuff. They keep doing all this stuff because they have to. They have to generate revenue somehow, because they're not generating it enough on the views on their channel. And so I feel like it's only a matter of time before that whole thing collapses on itself, I think.
So I want to take a break because we're doing our look ahead too. You mentioned Harry Potter. Is that a 2026 release, or is that further down
I think
the road?
2027 now, and I even think that the Game of Thrones show could get pushed potentially if Netflix is going to buy. I think anything Warner Brothers is a question mark now.
Man, yeah, because I mean they're buying it for that audience, but like so many
they're
things,
gonna make them wait.
Yeah, I feel like this show, they might have to retool it though, because I feel like this show is set to burn that audience the way so many other releases have done recently. Like
They could.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife loves Harry Potter. My daughter really loves Harry Potter. I don't really, my Harry Potter knowledge is like, I have none. I haven't watched any movies or read any books, but I do know I'm online. A lot of Harry Potter fans seem really angry. That's all I know.
Yeah, it better be good. It better be
Yeah.
actually good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have a Rings of Power situation going on.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're gonna get another Rings of Power next year.
Oh God.
I think didn't they sign up? They signed up for 5 seasons, right? I mean,
Right,
I think they signed up
I
for
think.
so they have to do 5 seasons. And it's like, and so far they're like $1 billion in the hole just on the first 2
I
seasons.
like it. I
It's
like
crazy.
it more.
Oh, so was
nuts.
2025 Rings of Power free? My brain is like getting fried.
Yes.
Was it?
Yes, that was
We were
2024.
free this year.
Yeah, that was 2024.
The Acolyte and that hit us hard at the same time last year.
Mhm. Yeah.
So there's something to speak highly of.
Yeah, this year's better than
2025.
last year's streaming. Yeah.
Yeah. We had no Rings of Power. There was no Acolyte. There was. So
we did have Ironheart, Dan. We did have Ironheart.
We did
So
have
that's
Ironheart.
that's
but we only watched 3 of those, Tim.
We had
We'll
we had
probably-
Alien Earth. We had Alien Earth.
Oh, God.
Okay.
No, that was awful. But
And what was that PlayStation 2 Predator movie that we all watched? That was pretty bad. What was that one?
Killer
The,
of Killers.
Killer of
Right?
Killers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that
animated
was,
one. Yeah.
That was pretty terrible. That was pretty terrible.
Yeah, with the cutscenes from the PS2. That's how that animation style was. And the Predator that gets beat up in the snow by a 90-pound Viking woman. Which movie had the most wasted potential of 2025? For me, it was Fantastic Four. That's John Stowe Knows Nothing. What do we think? What was the biggest wasted swing?
I'm right there with you. Fantastic Four for me.
Yeah.
I could put Superman close, but for me, Fantastic Four just felt like, well, here we go again, and it was supposed to like connect to Doomsday and matter, and it did none of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Fantastic Four is definitely up there. Superman, I still cannot believe. I still cannot believe that they just left 4th of July. They looked at the calendar and they said, the week after 4th of July. That's what we want to do. I still can't believe they did that. But as far as the movies go, as far as the movie and what the movie itself left to be desired, it's Fantastic Four. I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna, because honestly, when did Disney buy Fox? Like, what year was that? That was
2 years ago, two, 3
No,
years
I think
ago.
it's
I
a
feel like it
little
was
further back. Like it's pre 2020.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what year though. It's not that far back.
Yeah.
Past 2020
Yeah.
though.
So it was like five years ago, probably.
Was it that
6,
long
something
ago?
like that.
Man.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. So they're still sitting on the X-Men, right? And they sat on the Fantastic Four for 5 years. If they could have worked the Fantastic Four in pre-Endgame, you know what I'm saying? If they could have, like, before it all fell apart, or if they could, like, first movie post-Endgame, like, everybody's still loving everything. The only questionable move so far has been Captain Marvel. People are still feeling good about Endgame. They don't realize that it's a bad movie yet, because it is a bad movie. And and Fantastic Four comes out at that time point, like, people would be excited and it would have been huge. But just nobody's in the headspace for it now.
I still am, and I said this, and I think it just is proving to be true the longer we go through this whole. I feel like Fantastic Four does not work in any medium except the books, and I don't know that it can. I don't know that it can work in any medium except comic books. I feel like they've tried it in animation. It's failed miserably. They've had three efforts now in live action film that have failed miserably. I feel like the character, for whatever reason, either the characters are not as beloved or as widespread and popular as people thought, or the story just isn't something that people are very interested in, or they just haven't had a good combination of taking the story and the actors and the direction and making it interesting. Whatever reason, it is not working in any medium except the comic books. And it pains me to say, because I love the Fantastic Four. It's one of my favorite comic books growing up, but I just don't know that we're ever going to get a film project that is going to be worthy of what we want to see. We got that with Spider-Man. We got that with the X-Men. We got that with the Avengers. I just don't know we're ever going to get that with the Fantastic Four. And I'm about ready to just leave it alone, honestly, as a Marvel fan.
Let's see. What do we got here? We said, do box office numbers even matter anymore in the streaming era? I'll let you, Bumberger, what do you think? Does it matter?
I think it matters, but they would tell you it doesn't. And they would tell you that, like, the future streaming, it's more content for streaming. You double dip, you put it in theaters, and then you put it in a streaming service. I think that's an incorrect view, because I think the box office numbers reflect a overall, like, satisfaction with your film to a degree. Because, like, Minecraft's not a great movie, but clearly it entertained a large audience for whatever reason. I think that result matters. Like, Thunderbolts is a great example. It didn't do well on streaming, and it didn't do well in theaters, but the people that saw it seemed to like it. But why didn't people see it? Why aren't people watching it on streaming? That's a bigger problem. I think that it highlights a problem. I get what someone would say, though, about the box office not mattering as much, but if that's going to be the case, they got to decrease the budgets, because the budgets are a problem then.
Yeah. What do you think the box office matters, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I think the box office matters. I think that, I think that it's really, really hard comparatively to match adjusted for inflation numbers compared to what we had in the pre-streaming era. I think that's going to be a very hard thing to do moving forward, because I think that a lot of these movies, which movie was it? It was like Falcon, I called it Falcon and Winter Soldier. Captain America 4 was on streaming like a week after it was done in theaters or something stupid like that, right? And so, and I feel like they're really trying to almost create this idea where it's going to be on streaming anyway, so people aren't watching it for the last 2 weeks in theaters. And I think that could be kind of a dichotomy they're trying to introduce, almost to adjust for bad numbers occasionally. So it's really hard to know, should we trust the numbers or should we not? But I don't know. I feel like it's going to be hard to match the kind of numbers that we've seen before. Like I don't know that we're going to see a substantial amount of billion-dollar movies like we did in 2018, I think it was, right? In 2018, how many we had a lot of movies that were kind of in that same category. And which ones did we have? We had Avengers Infinity War was 2 billion, Black Panther 1.3, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom 1.3, Incredibles 2 1.2, Aquaman 1.1, and then Bohemian Rhapsody is when we snuck under a billion finally at 910. That was number 6 on the list. And so I feel like I don't know that we're going to see those kind of numbers anymore, just because of the scheduled releases that they have for these movies now. It's not going to be a year later. It's just like a month later now.
All right, bear with me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Revenge of the Sith, Back to the Future, right? All of these movies within the last year and a half have had very successful theatrical re-releases. People actually, these movies are available on streaming, sometimes multiple platforms. And the people who love them own them in at least 3 different formats. You know, they still have the VHS tape, they have the DVD, they have the Blu-ray, they probably have the 4K Steelbook, right? And yet people still reached into their pocket and went to the theater to go see it. And the studio still spent a little bit of marketing money and to put those back in theaters for like re-release, anniversary re-releases that made money. And actually, I think some of those movies won the weekend a couple of times. I honestly believe the only place they're making any money is at the box office, and they're not making much anymore. And all of this streaming and this, and we're going to add revenue, that is double speak to hide the fact that they're not making money anymore. And so I think the box office matters because it's the only thing that you can point to. Like,
it's the only measurable.
You can't pretend that you didn't, like, if you made money there, it's there. Everybody knows, everybody saw you made this money, So I think the rest of it is just all, it's salesmanship. It's why does it seem like studios refuse to learn lessons from box office results? We keep showing them we do not want woke garbage, but this is all they're giving. That's Flash ain't fast. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of a buzzword to just say that the box office numbers are down because it's woke. But I will say that there are a lot of things in Hollywood, like for instance the Oscar standards, for example. If you want to win an Oscar, you have to have a certain diversity percentage and all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff doesn't make for people to want to go see your movies more. I think that's kind of the biggest problem that people are going to have with it. So I don't know that that's really a reason that the box office numbers are down. It might be a part for a section of America, but I think the main reason is the quality is just bad. The quality is just bad. We've gotten in an era where CG has just completely taken over. Everything's done in a green screen now, in a green screen studio. It drives me nuts, man. Like a studio film used to be a dirty word. Like it used to be, if your film was not on location, it meant that it was a cheap film, right? And now everybody always shoots in a green screen studio. It's always in LA. You know what I mean? I get why they do it. It's all in LA. They all live there. They just drive 15 minutes. They can do it anytime. They can shoot for 3-4 hours. They don't have to wait on rain. They don't have to wait on the perfect weather conditions. They don't have to wait till the helicopters aren't flying over. I get why they do it. Okay. But it's it's annoying to people who actually have seen good films that were shot on location to see that everything is a green screen now, and you can do so much better than that. Particularly if you're Disney, particularly if you're Warner Brothers, you can do so much better than that, and that's why the quality is slipping. All right, the people aren't paying, and it doesn't have to do with any of the woke garbage. It has to do with the quality.
And you might as well do AI at this point if you're gonna film the way you're doing it. Like what's the difference at this point? Like if you're gonna go like Snow White was a $200 million blunder that you could have done with AI, and it would have been just as good, maybe better. Like it couldn't have been worse. Like we already, if you'd done it animated, it definitely would have been better. But again, the story was the problem there, and
that was the woke garbage. Let's not. That was the woke garbage that did it for that film. Absolutely, like that was a guaranteed $1 billion movie if they just gave us Snow White in live action, right?
Yeah, the family classic film, like if they had just stuck to that, which ironically, Lilo and Stitch, they kept it pretty close. Zootopia 2 is a solid movie, and they're hitting home runs. So it's one of those things where I do think that we talked about years ago how Snow White might be the peak of like all the stuff, like that whole era of stuff. I think is changing, and I think Snow White was the biggest one. I mean, we may have others, but I don't know if we'll have bigger ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think even outside of the political realm, and Snow White is a perfect example of that. And we had so many this year. Whether you're talking about Brave New World, Snow White, the creator of Andor, these people, they go out of their way to dump on the source, the Fantastic Forecast. Mm-hmm. They dump on the source material. They're adapting a book, a game, a comic book. You're adapting an older movie, and the cast, the crew, somebody has to go out of their way and take the thing that they're adapting, the source material where it all began, and just tell you why it's garbage and all the things that are wrong with it. And it's like, you're trying to capture the fan base of the people who already love this thing. Mm-hmm. So like, maybe don't crap all over the thing.
You'd think so.
You could, you could kind of be like, I think we made some improvements, but just to say
with the holidays, I've been watching Home Alone, and I thought to myself, I'm like, if a Home Alone sequel was made today, or if a new Home Alone was made today, I feel like they would take us to the backstory of Harry and Marv to make us feel more sympathetic toward them. You know what I mean? Like Marv's got a kid at home that's dying of cancer, or something like that, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this is the main problem with what they do now, and you're right, Dan. It's always, I don't care how long it's been 2-3 decades. You didn't know the whole story all along. And that was The Acolyte. That was a lot of these other things that have come up since then in Marvel and so many others. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of that. Everybody's tired of that. And at the end of the day, viewership is proving that people are tired of that.
Yeah. So it's just say nice things about, look at Minecraft. Nobody in that movie, it wasn't a great movie, but nobody in the movie had terrible things to say about the game.
Yeah, right.
Jack Black,
no one's bashing Minecraft.
Yeah. Jack Black and Jason Momoa were going around talking about how they set up a server and they were playing it while they made the movie, and how fun it was, and how they learned to love the game that they hadn't played before. That's how you should talk about your source material. Like either, I've always loved it, or, man, I discovered how much I love this. That's what you do when you're making that adaptation. So let's see, what do we got here? So is Guns DCU done now that WB has been purchased by Netflix? What do you think, Bober? Is it going to exist? Is it a thing?
I think it keeps going for a little while, no matter what. I think it's like a roll away snowball, and it's got to run its course now. Now, does it continue after Man of Tomorrow or whatever? I don't know about that.
Yeah. What do you think, Tim?
I think it continues to exist. I do not think they're going to stick with Gunn's release timeline. I think that they move Brave and the Bold up a year or two. And I think that they really tried to get the Justice League built a lot sooner than Gunn was intending on doing it. So we'll see. But studio meddling is often what has ruined this project in the past. And I have a feeling it's what's going to ruin this project moving forward. I liked Superman as a movie. I think that it made a lot of bad choices as far as promotion and release date and all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't a perfect movie, but it was still very, very good. I felt like there was a decent foundation there, but I don't know that the foundation that they laid is enough for a new studio that's going to be wanting results very quickly. They're not just going to let you do things the way that you were doing it when it didn't perform well. So
I think they finish out their slate and it's over, because after the way Superman performed, and again, they're trying to tell me that the box office was great and it didn't really matter because merchandising, because, everybody likes to buy merchandise from the movie they didn't see, and streaming and all that, and amusement parks or something. I don't really know. Somehow you get all kinds of ancillary money from a movie that people didn't watch. But after that performance, there is only one thing that could save the performance of that DCU. There's one character, and it's Batman. Batman is all you got. Superman didn't do, but you know what? Batman's taken. I don't know how many concurrent Batmen the market can take. And, he'll deny it, but I know that Gunn was trying to kill the Batman. I mean, he was doing what he could to delay things. And, if Superman made $1 billion or 900 million,
I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued by Brave and the Bold. I'm very intrigued by it. Okay. But I don't think Netflix is going to have the patience to wait. What was it going to be? 2027, 2028? I just don't think they're going to have the patience to wait for that. I just don't.
I don't like the Batman. I'm not going to watch it. I haven't watched it. I'm never going to watch it, even though I love Batman. But if I owned Netflix and I just bought Warner Brothers, which Batman are you rolling with? I mean, as a business decision, the one that's established and had that Penguin show that people love, and the movie that did reasonably well, and the young actor that's signed up to pay him a few more times, or a brand new version? Which version of Batman are you pushing? Because we know we're lest we forget, we're picking up at Brave and the Bold when Batman is relatively mature. He's in his late 40s at that timeline. Yeah. So, you don't have a decade-long Batman there, right? And that's something else to consider if you're Netflix. Do you tell them, hey, you got to change direction on that? I don't know. There's a lot of meddling that's going to be going on, and I don't think Gunn's going to want to stand for it, honestly. I mean, which Batman are you going with, Bone Bridger? Are you trying to push two Batman if you're Netflix?
If I was Netflix, I would let the second the Batman come out, but I would restart all of DC. I would do it the way I want to do it. I would restart the whole thing.
Yeah.
Throw out the whole thing.
Start over. Yeah, and I probably would do that no matter what if I was buying it. I'd say, nah, we're gonna do this how we want to do it, and honestly, it might involve shows and not movies, because at least with Netflix, you might get something like they could. They don't always do well, but you could get a big show with Batman in it and it'd be legit. Like if there was a Batman show that was awesome and Batman wasn't saved for the movies, but he was in a streaming show and it was a great show. I mean, what could the numbers be? We've always talked about like a Spider-Man show. What would a Spider-Man show pull on numbers? I think it could pull huge numbers, things like that, if you did it right.
Do you want to save a streaming service? That's how you save a streaming service, right? You have an A-list character with a great show, and that's how you do it. But
because the only thing that pushes Batman and Spider-Man into films instead of television is the popularity of the character. They're street level characters, and the stakes actually get distorted for those characters by pushing them into films. Like
Right.
because Spider-Man's not supposed to be saving the world on every venture.
Right.
He's supposed to be like stopping a burglary. That's that's the level he's supposed to take. Batman's supposed to stop a serial killer or something. That's so. Yeah, that would be. And you really made me think. If I'm buying it, and you've got Harry Potter, you've got this other stuff. Maybe you just say, you know what, we're gonna go DC's hiatus. It's gonna be 3-5 years off while people forget.
That's what I would
take a
do.
year off. Yeah.
Yeah. You take some time off. It's like we're gonna let Marvel spin their wheels and we'll let Disney drive that into the ground. And then we'll let that be driven into the ground. And then, after everybody's ready for superheroes again, then we'll come with ours. That might be. And if you're Netflix, you got the money to wait. You don't have to do it every year. What movie is 2026 has the most pressure to succeed? It is Doomsday, right? That is I Am the Night.
The budget alone makes it Doomsday, but what they're doing makes
What's
it
the budget
important.
on Doomsday? What's the budget?
I mean, they say 500 million, but I think a lot of people believe it's closer to $1 billion.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's outrageous. That's outrageous. That's outrageous.
Yeah. Because Robert Downey Jr. is back, the pressure's immense, because that's the one thing no one talks about Endgame and says, well, Tony Stark's story sucked. No one says that. Like, no one's disappointed in his ending. Well, Robert Downey Jr. is back. Is he playing Iron Man again? Like, is that getting changed? That pressure, that's big.
Yeah. That's just. What do you think, Tim? I there's nothing that could have as much pressure on it as Doomsday.
I had no idea that was the budget for this movie. If that's the budget for this movie, then absolutely. I mean, it's got to have $1 billion. I mean, it's got to have $1 billion showing just to feel somewhat respectable. You can't have a $500+ million budget and expect little returns. I mean, if you spend that kind of money, you better make $2 billion. You know what I mean? Like you better make $2 billion if you spend that kind of money. And I just don't know, based on the trajectory of what we're seeing, that there's enough people willing to spend money on that. Don't get me wrong. I know that Deadpool and Wolverine did what, like 1.3 or something like that. And I know that people will spend money on movies. Last year there was a $2 billion movie. So, I mean, I feel it. I completely understand, but I don't think that there are going to be enough people interested in the remaining continuity of the MCU, regardless of the characters, that are going to spend that kind of money on a movie that they think will be out on streaming in a couple months anyway. That's just the way that I feel about it. So I don't know. I feel like the pressure is going to be huge, but I feel like they need to, the floor needs to be somewhere close to $2 billion for them. So that's the floor.
We've been texting about this one, and Tim had a point that they're trying to sell Doomsday as a swan song for the 2012 Avengers, for the OG Avengers. This is their final ride, and that's how they're going to sell it. Well, we saw that movie, and it was called Endgame. They had their swan song. You wrapped up Tony. You wrapped up Captain America. Thor didn't get wrapped up, but he kind of had a moment. We saw their swan song. Some people say, okay, well, you're bringing back the 2000s X-Men and giving them their send-off. Well, we saw Days of Future Past. We saw Logan. So these guys. I love classic rock, and I texted these guys. These bands, they all have their last chance in a million years. You're never going to see us again because we're retiring tour, right? And it makes $1 million, and everybody goes and sees it because, oh my God, they're never coming again. We got to go see them. That was Endgame. That was Days of Future Past. They had their retirement tour already. This is the we're
coming
back.
Out of retirement.
Is over. This is the reunion tour. That's what this is. The problem is people love to go to the reunion tour because when you go to the reunion tour, they don't even have an album put together and they're just going to play the hits, right? They're just going to play the hits. When you go to see Doomsday, they ain't playing the hits, man. This is here's one off our new album for 2 hours. That's what it is. Who wants to pay for that?
They've got to do something bold. They've got to really they've got to do something that no one expects with Doomsday. And I don't know if that's like literally going to Endgame and changing the end of Endgame and everything after it's erased. Because if you do that, then at least you're taking a real risk and chance that people might be like, okay, well, that's what I've not liked is the stuff since then. But are they willing to do that? Because that's a studio saying we messed up. Like that's them saying we're fixing this.
I think that,
that would restore my hope in the universe. Because if they did that, that means they could go back and be like, you know what? None of those Star Wars movies happened either.
It's kind of funny because that's exactly where I was going, Dan. I was going there with Star Wars because when Disney bought Star Wars, they originally said that the canon was wide open. Anything you'd ever seen from Star Wars, that is canon. And then they changed it, right? They changed it. They said, we're pretty much going to go straight down the line of anything that's not the EU. Okay. Anything that's not from the books, anything that's not from that kind of stuff. That's all good. But we're going to just kind of focus on the stuff that was from the movies, the animation, the video games, with all the characters that we already know. And so I feel like they go back and they kind of try to retcon what the canon was in order to make us feel like, they're trying to adjust to make things a little bit more consistent. But I don't know that you're at the point where you can do that with Marvel now. Everything has kind of been connected some way or another. And to just say that great swaths of it don't exist just because they were terrible choices, I just don't know that you can actually do that. All right. Secret Invasion was an awful choice. It was a terrible choice. But if you go back on it now, when you've had projects that were dedicated to trying to explain why it was okay since then you've wasted hundreds of millions of dollars for something that you were going to just erase anyway. It doesn't make any sense. And so I feel like Disney's not going to do that. I feel like the good news about all of this is that with Secret Wars, we are very, very close to a reboot. That's the only good thing that I can think of about the MCU right now is we're this close to the reboot, guys. We're only a couple years away from it. And when we get that reboot, I have a feeling we're going to go back and we're going to change what is canon into what needs to be canon and focus everything moving forward the way that it needs to be. But this is Disney. I'm sure they'll find the stupidest way to not do that. But anyway.
Yeah, I honestly think that this is the reason. This movie is the reason 2026 is going to be worse than 2025. So
it's in December too. Like we got to wait till the end of the year to see this stupid movie. And I like this is one of those. It's just like I'm not looking forward to it like I was Endgame. It's more like, I don't want to go see this movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we'll see.
And that's why Justin asked, is 26 going to be worse than 25? If you go off Marvel movies, I'm saying yes. I just now until Bone Bridger brought up the idea of it just wiping away and resetting back to Endgame. That's the only version that I can imagine that's not just awful.
Yeah.
They'd have to do something crazy. Like they'd have to go where literally Doom shows up and stops Thanos himself. And I mean, now granted, if they did that, that would be like the craziest thing ever because then everything's on the table. Like everything, like possibility, wonder, what could happen. But I don't think they'll do it. I think they're going to do a soft version of that where they go to the events after Endgame and collect characters at time points and multiverse stuff, and that could just be bad. The multiverse could make this whole movie garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the erasure of stakes. Tim hates multiverses because
This is why. Okay. Well, the mess that we're in now is why I hate the multiverses. And somebody's going to be like, oh, well, it just wasn't done right. It's like communism. People try to tell you, oh, if it was just done right, then it would be awesome. It's like multiverses can't be done right because the reason that they were created in the first place was to clean up inconsistencies and messes and big writing discrepancies. It's the whole reason they were created in the first place. So you can't take something with that initial purpose and say, oh, well, it needs to be done right. I agree. There are some multiversal stories that are better than others. Flashpoint, for example, love that story. Okay. Crisis, not a, I don't think that Crisis was a terrible story. And I don't think Secret Wars, the Hickman run in 2015, I don't think that was a terrible story. But the fact that those existed meant that there were inconsistencies that needed to be cleaned up. That's the whole reason that they existed in the first place. Just because they were better written doesn't mean that they were the best option. I feel like, a linear story and a reboot is always the option for something like this. And it was staring them in the face about 10 years ago, and they decided not to do it. I don't know why.
RDJ is not playing Victor Von Doom. Like, we all agree on that, right? There's absolutely no way possible he is.
I think they're going to try, Dan.
No
I think they're going to try. I think they're going to. I think they're going to take a stab at Victor Von Doom. I do.
I got no clue.
How does he show up? And we know he takes off the mask because we've seen that in Fantastic Four. He looks like Iron Man. He sounds like Iron Man. He's Iron Man. And everybody's supposed to act like they don't recognize him. Is that what's going to happen? Is this like a soap opera thing? Like today,
I have
the
no
role
idea.
of Victor Von Doom will be played by.
I have no idea, man. I think they're going to try to make it Victor Von Doom because I don't think that there's. If it's not Victor Von Doom, word will spread and a lot of people won't go see the movie.
Which 2026 movie is getting overhyped? I think the Odyssey will get all the Nolan bros way too excited. I haven't heard a ton about that. I mean, overhyped is obviously Doomsday. Is there anything else you think is overhyped?
I liked Nolan as a director. I will say that trailer when John Barenthal was basically talking in like a Brooklyn accent, I thought that was really weird. So it's like you're in the Odyssey and you're talking with like a Brooklyn accent. That's kind of odd. He sounds like the Punisher in the Odyssey, which is really weird. But I I expect the movie to be really well done. Because Nolan's a great director. But that was a very interesting choice.
They're all Greek, right?
Yeah,
they're all Greek. So do you want them doing the Russell Crowe? Thor voice. Do you want him doing that?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you
absolutely.
Do. That's exactly what you want.
We want a bunch of dudes the Zeus voice.
That's exactly what we want.
Bo Bridger, do you think there's anything outside of those two that's like really overhyped for next year?
I don't know about overhyped, but maybe Supergirl's still overhyped.
Oh man.
Like maybe even it's overhyped no matter where that level is.
And that's sad to say, man. Supergirl overhyped. I mean, this just tells all the problems with the schedule that they initially gave us. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
this is where we're at.
The reactions have been very poor. That's
it might make 200 million. It might make Snow White money.
Yeah,
yeah. It's gonna be in Snow White territory. So, can Brand New Day actually surprise us all? Thug Dog was
I heard
stolen my spirit.
I saw a rumor the other day, and I texted Dan about it. It looks like the Hand is going to be part of the villain in Spider-Man. So if that's the case, I don't know. I'm not a big group villain guy. I don't know about you guys. I'm not a big group villain guy. So if it was the only villain, I really would not like that very much. It would depend on the rest of the movie, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
The only thing that I'm looking for surprise with that is actually Sadie Sink, from Stranger Things being in it. Can she actually become like a mega star? That's what would surprise me. I don't think so. I think she's great, but this is Spider-Man. This is your chance to become something a lot bigger.
Yeah, she could, because I mean, this was big for Zendaya, I think.
For sure. Not that she didn't have stuff, but like in terms of
she was just like a Disney Channel girl before that. I mean,
right.
and don't get, she had her singing career and she had done some other stuff, but this really skyrocketed her into prominence, and then she did a few other big projects, and for sure.
It could surprise me and not be awful. I mean, I have loved the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I he's been very good. I've loved both movies, but they called it Brand New Day, and I have PTSD over the whole One More Day, Brand New Day. It just puts me in a foul mood when I hear those three words together. It just puts me in a foul mood for hours every time I hear it. And the fact that they decided to call the movie that, just I'm full of trepidation. I just it's still just my heart sinks. Yada Depp says
this is Jonathan. That's Jonathan.
Jonathan's in here. RDJ is going to open Doomsday by unaliving Morgan Stark or Pepper Potts. He will be Victor Von Doom. I also think he will recruit a Hydra Steve Cap and multiple other folks from across the multiverse.
That sounds awful. I'm just going to say that right now. If that's the movie, it will and should not make any money. So
I think he shows up and stops Thanos and takes out the Infinity Gauntlet and just disappears in the void.
Yeah. I Am the Night says Street Fighter has got to be a terrible, no good, very bad portion of a movie, right? Do you guys have any hope?
It has to be bad.
It that many wrestlers in a movie. You can't have that many wrestlers in a movie and have it be good.
The Rock has to be in it too. The finale.
The
Rock
buddy,
has to be.
I'm gonna die on the hill that there's going to be a surprise Rock cameo somewhere.
He's in it.
He's the final boss.
He's got to be in that movie somewhere. It's crazy.
Yanni Depp says Avengers sequel will. If we know that's happening, that's Jonathan. Can we just skip to that? Can we just do that, please?
I was ready for it 3 years ago, so I'm done.
Yeah, I mean that outline that he just gave us for Doomsday just sounded so awful.
It sounds terrible. Sounds awful.
And this is the thing with Sadie Sink is she a superstar or not? Like that's what we're about to find out. Like, does it work? Yeah.
And who is she playing? Like, it's not confirmed that she's playing Mary Jane. Like, who is she playing? Like, I mean, she's a redhead. So you would think, like, I
don't know.
Who knows? Maybe she's Betty Brant. She's not charismatic or a good actress. Well, I haven't seen her in anything other than Stranger Things. So I don't know what her range is. She's good in that, but that might be her. Street Fighter reboot will be so bad it's good.
It very well could be.
Yeah.
Hey, now, if Jean-Claude Van Damme doesn't make some kind of a glazing appearance, I'll be sad. Yeah, I'll be very sad.
Yeah. Now Tim was saying that fight games have a plot that's too dumb to make a really good film. Yeah. But there is one incredible all-time classic fight game movie, and it does star Jean-Claude Van Damme. It just happens to be called Bloodsport. And it's the adventure.
I thought you were going to say Street Fighter. Yeah, it's Street Fighter from the 90s.
It's Bloodsport because, I mean, Bloodsport, it's a Kunte. And dude, if you haven't seen Bloodsport, go watch Bloodsport. It's not actually true. There's a thing at the end that tells you it's based on a true story. It's not. It's based on on this dude's claims of a true story. But stories don't have to be true to be good. None of these
True.
movies we talked about were based on true stories.
True.
So
Except
yeah.
Minecraft, that really happened.
So now we need to talk about the movie that I actually have hope for next year. Masters of the Universe. Are we finally going to get a real, true, fantastic He-Man? Is it going to happen? I mean, come on.
Why not?
We got
Something's got to be good next year. I'll go with it.
I think that the people who are not Gen X and kind of on the border exennial people are not going to be interested in that movie. I feel like people like you and me, Dan, will be like, show us a good He-Man movie. I feel like a lot of the other people are just not going to want to see that movie for a variety of reasons. But
they've got some big names in this cast. You got Jared Leto as Skeletor. Allison Brie is going to be Evelyn. They got Idris Elba's in it as Man-at-Arms. Himdall himself is going to be there. So, I mean, of course, He-Man's not a guy in it, but you don't want a famous dude as He-Man because then, then it's that dude. You just want somebody. But I mean, we got some big names in the cast. They're not like totally cheaping out. So maybe we get a fantastic Masters of the Universe. I have way more hope that that's going to be a good film than Doomsday.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see.
It could be awful, but are you guys actually like? Hold on, we got another one. Hold on. Don't hold your breath,
Jared. Good old Jared
does not believe Masters of the Universe will be good. Pedro Pascal is.
I agree. Pedro Pascal is He-Man or bust. I agree.
Yeah. Pedro, I don't think you see, and that's what's Pedro got coming out next year. That's what
so many things that it transcends time.
Well, when is Mandalorian and Grogu? When is that coming out?
Next year.
Oh, that's next year. See there,
and Doomsday. So he's got at least 2.
He's got 2. So there you go. Yeah,
Okay, so let's talk Mandalorian and Grogu. Does Disney even understand the concept of brand damage? Did they get what that is? No.
None. They have no concept that if you mention that they would think you're speaking another language. That you would be,
I think a lot of people were intrigued by the fact that Favreau was back for this one, but I feel like they just wrote him a big fat check and said, this is what you're doing. I don't feel like he wanted to do this. I don't feel like he thought that the story needed this. He's going to take lemons and try to make lemonade, but I don't know that this is really the direction that he wanted to go with what he initially created. And I think it's going to show. How
long has it been since Star Wars was in theaters? When was the
2019
Rise of
Skywalker?
2019. Mm-hmm. So it will have been 7 years since Star Wars was in theaters. It'll be 3 or 4 years since The Mandalorian was on TV, and they're going to do double brand damage by taking basically what's like a 3-episode run of the show,
and
just throwing it.
And for no reason for why these two characters should ever be together again. All right, I mean, they had the perfect conclusion to that, and then they just let it all go. I cannot get over how Disney just can't leave well enough alone. They want to just try to recreate the same magic they had in season 1. You can't do that.
But I mean, you're having this fall on its face in theaters is just that is a massive hit to the Star Wars brand, and it's a brand that
it's gonna look bad.
Yeah, this reminds me, Tim and I, because we're masochists, reviewed the Ewok films a while back, and we found some great trivia, in that while they were network specials, they aired on TV, they were made for TV, and here in the United States, that's what they were. It's what they always were. But in the UK, so this is Britain and Australia, the Caravan of Courage was released in theaters, and this is like 13, 14 months after Return of the Jedi, and they're like, oh, there's a new Star Wars movie in the theater. People
Pain.
bought tickets.
Mistakenly.
Having just saw Return of the Jedi, Empire. They had just watched the original trilogy over like 6 years in theaters, right? They're like, oh, a new Star Wars. And they paid their money and sat down and watched a little girl have Ewok help her beat Sweetums.
Yep.
And that's what this is going to be. This is the new millennium version of that, only it's worldwide. That
Yep.
And
That's what
there was
they're
never a
doing.
TV release. That's the difference. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So there is that. I'm trying to look for. Is there anything like I mildly think, man, it's Master of the Universe might be good. But
let
what are we
me
looking
run
forward
through
to?
the trendings again. Let me run through the trendings again, and if you guys hear anything you want to talk about for a second, Avengers, Doomsday, Super Mario Galaxy, okay, Toy Story 5. I mean, can we just quit beating that dead
Can we
horse?
quit already?
Can we cut? Come on, guys. Like, you had a great ending in 3. You had a great ending in 3, and then there's 4. All right, where the toys are all different places now. How can you possibly have a 5? The Odyssey we've talked about. Moana live action. We just had this 9 years ago. The original was 9 years ago. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I just
but
don't
this
get
one will be scary. This one will be nightmare fuel.
We got the rock.
When the big volcano comes to kill everybody at the end, it'll just be really, really epic. So, Spider-Man: Brand New Day, Minions 3. So once again, the third prequel is coming out. So the Minions 3, Mortal Kombat 2. I'm not gonna lie, I was heavily disappointed in Mortal Kombat 1. So I don't know.
That's the one I'm hoping could have some redemption. That's the one that I hope is a good one.
That first movie was so terrible, though. I just don't know. I don't know that I can see a redemptive factor to it. I don't know. And then a new Resident Evil is coming out.
Oh,
it looks like they're rebooting it. It looks like.
Why not?
So, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Okay.
So
I didn't hear anything there to get really. I'm just gonna stick with Masters of the Universe. That's where. Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I think 2026 might be worse, guys.
It's looking that way.
Yeah. Like, what's the big summer movie? I mean, Doomsday's
Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Mortal Kombat.
Just
and
the name
Odyssey,
is the only. Yeah. The name is the thing that's throwing me off on Spider-Man. Maybe it will be good. Sony is there to do good battle against Disney, and maybe they will scrape a good film out of that. So
we're gonna have Disney. We're gonna have Disney and Universal taking each other on in July. You got Moana going against Minions, and then you're also going to have Toy Story 5 in June. So Disney's really going to have they're hoping for a big summer, it looks like, and then Spider-Man. So they're really hoping for a big summer. So we'll see.
If Moana tanks, maybe we could get rid of the live action and we can get rid of The Rock. We could just do all of that at once.
Just do it all
just
one
torpedo.
time.
2 things, 2 birds, 1 stone. Oh, but I think that we had a good recap of 2025. We had a good look ahead. There were good things. I don't remember what any of them were. There were movies we liked that didn't perform as well as we wanted. There were movies we hated that made tons of money. And that's probably what's going to happen again next year.
Mm-hmm.
Home Alone is always fun. Watch that, guys. It is Christmas time.
It's always good.
Yeah. Do you have any big stuff coming up that you would like to announce?
Nothing major coming up. Just get to the new year and do it all over again.
All right. You find
Awesome.
Bone Bridger right here on YouTube. You found us already. We're the Nerd Champs. We're on YouTube. We're in other places too. Just look for Nerd Champs. You'll find us. We're in all of those little corners of the internet where people complain about this kind of stuff. So until next week, I am Dan. That is Tim. And Tim, OH.